Good morning, everybody. Here we go. Another episode of Max Monday Mojo. And I am just blessed again on a Monday and happy to have my coach, mentor, and originator extraordinaire, top next level LO coach. You ready for it? It's Mr. Shane Kidwell on the other side. I'm going to have some fun here and talk about some things that, motivate you and help motivate other people, and also talk about the people that have helped you in your life to get you to where you are. So, Shane, tell us a little bit about your story, bud.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on, dude. It's always fun to be able to connect with like-minded people who are rowing the same race. So I'm excited to be here. My story, like most people in our business, I mean, we don't get into coaching. We don't get into origination. You don't grow up in high school and say, Mom, Dad, I want to be a mortgage coach and originator. I think, but the reality is you people in sales, entrepreneurs, you take the opportunities as they come to you. And, when you're motivated, like you and I are, you're going to have more opportunities, right? Like there was something that says the harder I work, the luckier I get. And man, I find that to be so true in my life. But I got into origination back in 2009. I was a professional firefighter, and I hurt myself a couple times on the job. And I just found myself in a place where I just felt like my body was probably going to wear out before my mind did. And I just felt like I needed to have something to fall back on. And so most firemen have a second job, part-time gig. So I got into lending, started just kind of slowly but surely building my business. And one of my old coaches had said to me, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy man or woman because they know how to get stuff done, right? Because they're motivated by it. I found that to be true. I built a team. I've used leverage technology. I created a communication plan, proprietary tools, all out of necessity, not necessarily out of creativity, because I was a fireman. And so I'd be working at the fire station on a call doing CPR, and my team would be back in the office walking alone, originating deals. So that started in 2009. I built Next Level Coaching with 4 incredible friends and founders about 3 years ago. And that was just because we felt like there was a void where, it's hard in our industry, real estate, lending, sales, to find people who are successful and willing to share their ideas. And 100%, like not just be like, hey, you should try this one idea and I'm going to hold back 3 or 4. I just pull back the curtain, like everything I've got, good, bad, the ugly, the pretty. Let me share with you what I've done and what I've seen. And that's what helped me grow in my business, helped me retire from the fire department 4 years ago, helped me create multiple streams of income, helped me build a team that's like my family, helped me have relationships with friends like you out of state, where we can break bread together. And all that was just through, I think, just that really unique kind of dynamic.
Well, man, what you're doing is amazing. And I can speak to that personally now since I just got back from Washington. Some of you guys saw on my Facebook feed, I was actually out there with Shane, and he helped me celebrate my anniversary with himself, his whole team, the wife. We went out on a seaplane. I thought I was going to be scared. I wasn't. It was an awesome adventure, man. In this business and in life, and those folks that tune in and listen to us, life isn't always about buying the best car and having the best this and living in mansions, because those are these worlds that sometimes we can't relate to. And it's hard for us really to relate with success because we start to visualize that's the only way to success. And I've started to really realize more and more over the past few years, just being involved with Next Level and meeting folks like you, is that it's about experiences. And the experience that we had over the week of training, learning about how to grow business, and then, the seaplane just on the weekend to take that Saturday for a few hours and fly over to a little island and have lunch and just sit there and talk. Those experiences are worth millions, man. And I think if more people could really grasp the idea of friendship and experiences are more than things, we would be living in a whole different world, So
yeah, you're not wrong on that. One thing I would say is, and this it comes about through maturation, right? Like when you make your first big paycheck, you don't know what to do, right? And rightly so, right? You don't know what to do. What I have found over the last 10 plus years, hardship, struggle, man, my wife has stuck with me through a ton of mistakes, is that, to your point, relationships and experiences are what really create true wealth, because mansions and shiny cars can rot and rust, right?
Exactly.
But the relationships don't, the experiences don't. And that's always been my thing, is like, I think the more success you have, it gives you more opportunities to bless more people and have
Right.
more amazing experiences. And that's what's been fun about it. I mean, my dad died when I was very young. And so I think everybody has a nervous habit in what and why they want to be successful, right? There's good things, but then there's always that other side of the coin, which is, I was broke when I was a kid. I had this happen. I lost everything. And so you react based on some of that, right? Not
Right.
necessarily bad. And so that was for me. My dad died when I was very, very young. Saw my mom and my brother and I have to move, sell our house that my dad built, start over. My mom started cleaning houses. I went with her as an 8-year-old cleaning houses. And like,
That'll change your world real quick.
that'll change your world, and it gives you perspective, right? And I think that's what's always been really fun for me is, man, like, everything I get is just a blessing. It's like gravy on top of the potatoes, man. I was a fireman. I was happy living life as a fireman. So anything I get now is just gravy.
Tell us how you transitioned and also used some of the skills that you learned being a firefighter and move that into the lending world, to motivate you and keep you going too. Because I think that's a pretty interesting thing. Because I mean, I had a short period of time in my life where I was a firefighter, not the experiences you had, but tell us how you use that. Because I talked to you the other day and you explained it in a really cool way of how battalion chief and lieutenants and all those different things.
Yeah, the thing about the fire department is it's paramilitary, so there's a lot of discipline. And I think that one thing that salespeople, myself included, struggle with is discipline, right? Like, we're emotional people. And so when you look at these different kind of the mental makeups of salespeople that are really, really successful, so they're drivers, they're demanding, and they're emotional, right? Well, in the fire department, you had to be very consistent in what you did and concise. And so every day it was the same morning routine. I put my boots on, I had my cup of coffee at the same time, did the same thing with my fire truck, my equipment. So I think part of that for me was I had a leg up on the competition because I had an inherent discipline just built into what I did in my everyday life that just really transferred well into the fire department.
Right.
I think that people with discipline is hard work, and a lot of people in our business, real estate and lending, they don't necessarily want to work hard. And so for those of us that do, you can see like tenfold production. You can see these dramatic increases because you're just willing to work harder. And then I think the last thing for me, because I used to get asked this a lot, was like, how did you go from 0 to top 1% originator? How did you do that? I think for me, it's communication. Like, I set a brand and I communicate my brand, who I am, very consistent and directly every time. I am who I am. This is the type of style you're going to get when you work with me. I'm extremely transparent. We talk about challenges. We talk about sparks before they're fires, right? So we do a lot of these things. And when you're a fireman, imagine this. You're sitting in bed, you're sleeping, you're in REM. The light goes off, a bell goes on. You have to go to an address you've never been to, meet with people that you've never met before in your life, and deal with an emergency that you don't know of until you get to their front door.
Right.
That creates in you a requirement to be able to relate to people, to calm them down, right? So anytime we're in anyone's home or going on a call, we would do our best to get people to trust us because we were there to help them. And if people trusted us, it was easier to get to a successful completion at the job. Same thing with sales, same thing with lending and real estate. If you have trust and you can communicate and relate to people, like, you're going to win, and there's no robot that's ever going to take your job away.
No. And you're right. It's the transparency of it, because I think in this business, at least how I came up, it was like, hey, you don't let them see this, you don't let them see this, and what you've taught me through this and a few other people is just be very, very transparent. Even I know when I sit down and I talk to somebody, I'm going to show them their rates. Here, you pick your rate. It's like going to the store. It shouldn't be where you go up to this, dark black window and you stick your name and phone number and, your social security under a thing. And then they come back and say, okay, your rate is 4%. It shouldn't be that way. It should be, hey, I'm going to open up. You're going to see Mack. You're going to see Shane. And we're going to show you, here are the rates. You pick what it is. And I think you've done a really good job of that and training your team on that and coaching to that. So, and I've been, definitely a benefactor of that over the past year. So it's awesome. Tell me about, a lot of people, are scared to go into coaching. They think they can't afford it. They don't think it'll really do anything for them because it's the same old, same old. Talk to us a little bit about coaching. Maybe what's the hardest part of it and why people are so fearful of being coached.
Well, I think the reason people are fearful of being coached, probably the same way I was fearful, is you hate to admit that you're not what you want people to think you are.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really hard. It's a really hard but a really freeing exercise to be able to be yourself, like 100%. And when you're in a marriage with a spouse who just loves you for who you are, how freeing that is. Where you don't have to
Right.
posture or put on any makeup or do anything special. You can just be who you are. I think that with most people, they're afraid to tell their coach that they're insecure, that they struggle, that they aren't consistent, like they aren't willing to just have real honesty. And a real coach isn't there to tell you you're right or wrong, but they're to speak into your blind spots, right?
Right.
And so we do that. So it's the three realms: the things you know, the things you don't know. Those are easy. Like those things we can do without a coach. It's the things you don't know.
Right.
And so when we sat down last week, I'm asking a lot of questions. So I think a good coach is going to ask a lot of questions and then speak into blind spots based on their experience with zero ego or pride. I think that people just are really fearful of showing their true self. So that's why when you see on social media, everybody's got a white picket fence. Everybody's got, the car is shiny, their kids are clean, everybody's getting A's. But in reality is we all go through a lot of struggle in life.
Right.
I had depression as a kid. I grew up not knowing about it, had to deal with it as a fully grown adult with a wife. And that was tough, right? And so I talk about everything in my life with my friends. I treat my clients, my referral partners like friends. It just makes it a fun interaction. So I think that's why people don't get into coaching. I think one thing that people need to remember is you're worth so much more per hour than you think you are.
True.
Like if you look at what you actually do, like if you break down your day, your week, your month, how many of those hours are you actually working on your dollar producing activities, the things you're supposed to do with your time? Then you factor that into $1 per hour. What people typically find out is what they're worth is way more than what they're doing, right? And so for me, it was just coaching was all about teaching me an understanding of what am I worth per hour? What am I doing with my time? And could somebody else do those tasks that are probably not the best use of my time more effectively? And that's true in any sales organization. There's a reason when you go to buy a car, the guy who's really good at selling you the car isn't the guy who sets up your financing.
Exactly.
Isn't the person that details your car, isn't the guy who is going to service it the first 3, 6, 9 months down the road. They're different skill sets.
Right. Well, and that's very, very true. And I see that every day. And it's the willingness to let go and let somebody else step into a spot where they're really, really good and they can give 100% at that. And you can give 100% at what you're really good at. And you said something, that just resonated with me. And it was about just being able to be yourself, and be really vulnerable, in this business, because everybody wants to have that shield up and not really show who they are, or, have all this falseness around them. And, I was one of those people because I was scared. Will people really accept Mack for who he is? And, to come into who I really am and to have, real estate agents that know, like, and trust me. And then they send me the right client that ends up liking me and trust me. It's a different world you get to live in. And I think any entrepreneur or any salesperson, just any mother or father, when you actually get to step into that authentic place that we thrive in, you're better for everybody, Yeah.
And I think too, what you're really talking about is when you're being authentic, you're pushing your energy out there to the market, and then people will be attracted to that. Now, the reality is what happens is what a lot of us do is we say yes to everybody without a true understanding of who our ideal client is, right? Like you're not going to be friends with everybody in the world. It's not going to work that way. There's going to be people that don't like your style or they don't want to work within the confines of your business model. And so when we say yes to everybody, we're not acknowledging that we're saying no to somebody else.
Right.
Like we're even saying no to our family. We're saying no to our health. We're saying no to spending more time with the right type of referral partner, the right type of client that's fun, easy, and much more successful, right? And I think that's a challenge people have is they live in this scarcity mentality where I've got to say yes, I've got to do this deal, I've got to take this late call on Sunday night. It's like you don't have to do that. If you clearly communicate, if you have a plan, a system, a team, technology, and you put out exactly who you are authentically, you'll attract the right people who respect your model.
It is. And you've done a great job, even from not just, I'm sure your clients, you're attracting the right clients, but you're also attracting the right team members. You know, I haven't been around many teams other than I think my team is pretty cool. We work well together, but you know, to be around your team and it felt like more of a family than
Yeah.
just a work environment. You know, the way, you know, having food in there and people wanting to hang out. I mean, you didn't have to beg them to hang out. They really wanted to be there with you. And that's a testament to you're living your authentic self and you're doing exactly what you're sitting here talking about. And those are the people I like to have on the Monday Mojo, because that's very for real.
Well, thank you, man. Well, I couldn't let you say that without saying that I've also made a lot of mistakes, and my team has taken a ton of bullets for me. And so, like, I think that if you're honest and you treat people like family, I think that a lot of people have a hard time being transparent with their staff. I'm just very transparent with my team. So we have hard conversations, but I think through the hard conversations, through the transparency, I think you build up a respect for each other, and it gives you extra fuel in the tank when you have those opportunities where you maybe fumble the football, right?
Right. So this is the motivation station. What motivates Shane Kidwell?
Boy, you know, I grew up in a household that was just full of people it was all about generosity, right? And it was always through living, and people say living through abundance, but like I saw that as a kid. Like I experienced that firsthand. We had missionaries in our house from when I was born. Like when we'd have snowstorms, my dad would go to the grocery store and buy the groceries for the whole neighborhood. Like, so I've always just been surrounded by, you know, my mom, my stepdad, just amazingly generous people still to this day. I've always been surrounded by people who are generous. And so I think for me, I don't really get a rush out of buying a nice car or anything like that. I get a rush out of helping people. And so what I realized is I could have an amazing nonprofit having an amazing for-profit business. And so for me, I get a rush out of being able to make more in my business to help more people, right? And so I think that's always been probably the most important thing for me. So now as I'm starting to enter like the next phase of my life, you know, and I'm going to be a first-time old dad, and I'm thinking about things differently. And I'm thinking about like, how do I build a legacy for my daughter, right? I'm thinking about, will she want to do what I do? And how do I bring her to my business? I'm starting to think about building a nonprofit. I'm thinking differently because that's always been my fuel that's driven me, is like, I just love giving back to people. That's why I love being a coach, because I get to give back to people. So I think that's always been my why. That's what's driven me. And really like continuing the legacy that was, I think, cut short with my dad passing away is probably the other one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. That will definitely drive you, I'm sure. You know, another thing I think I always wanted to ask you is, if I can remember now, I just lost it, but it'll come back to me here.
That's the joy of doing live shows, right?
I know, right? Well, you know, when we sat down in the office and you helped me with my plan, you know, it's still very scary. Okay. Because I mean, when we first started, I remember sitting in a room with you and you're like, hey, you got to hire this person. You got to do this. And I'm sitting there going, man, I'm just getting back. I'm making money now. And I got these things going. I'm able to do all this stuff with my agents and we're good now. Now you want me to go out and put another expense on my table. I'm scared, man. And I even expressed that to you a little bit. And when I was up there this weekend, what would you tell people that are scared sometimes or fearful of making that bigger investment into themselves?
I think that, you know, one day I don't even know how it came to me. I was probably having a cup of coffee and a good donut. And that's the key to success, gang. If you need more success, have more donuts, but get on your Peloton. But, you know, I said, you know, man, if I was a stock, like if on the NASDAQ 500, you had Shane Kidwell as a stock, would I buy it? Like, would I buy my own stock?
Right.
And if I wouldn't, then I needed to stop, have a real honest, hard conversation with myself and ask why. Well, am I not good? Do I not have authenticity? Am I not knowledgeable? Am I not competitive? Am I not innovative? And I said, yeah, man, I would buy my own stock. And so part of that for me was, instead of looking at things through this, like, I'm right here, right now, I had to step back and say, man, look at all the things I've been able to accomplish. And I am a good stock. Like, people on the street, if I could push that out there, would buy what I'm selling. So I think you do have to have a level of confidence. I mean, to be good in sales, you have to be confident. Like, you don't have to be arrogant, you have to be confident. And there's a really thin line there between arrogance and confidence. But I think that was a big thing for me, and for anybody out there, like, if you know that you're a hard worker, you're honest, I mean, it goes back to kind of our core values: move fast, work hard, be honest, act like family, embrace change. Like if you do those things and trust first, if you do those things, like if those are core values for you in your life, and you're successful doing what you're doing more of that will make you more successful. Or it will allow more people to be able to come into the fold. And that's my goal now, is like, I have a plan, I have a blueprint. I want to bring more people into that plan and into that blueprint and help more people be able to do that, and then show them through my generosity how they can be generous. I think that the reality is, a lot of times we don't truly believe that our stock is worth buying.
Right.
And that's day zero. You got to start your reset by saying, why would I not buy my own stock? What am I not great at? What am I not attending? Instead of fluffing yourself up, giving yourself a ribbon for being average, like one of my coaches said to me, the truth shall set you free. To be free, to be able to invest in yourself, you have to be truthful with yourself. And I think that that's key.
I like that. My lights are going off. I think I have to stand up. Hold on.
When you have a live event, you've got to do like different stuff to keep it going all the time.
I know. I don't know what happened there, but
hey, the beauty of this, Mac, is we can blame everything on COVID right now. So,
I know, right?
It's just we blame COVID for it,
That's so weird. Now I got to like walk around or something and get the lights to go back on, but I'm not worried about it because, hey, we're gonna keep rocking and roll. Hopefully something will happen here soon. But the other thing, before I even let you go, because I know what your schedule looks like all the time now that I've been out there and I've had you pop it up in front of me. We've taught people over this COVID time, you mentioned it, great segue, how to work online, how to buy homes online, how to, get lending online. But still, I think in our industry, we haven't totally taught the people that work in our industry how to thrive in this new technology world. What would you say, or what would you tell folks that are paying attention to this and listening? What would you tell them about this next stage of the game we're getting ready to head into right now? Thanks. My wife came down and turned the lights on for us.
That's why you got a really good boss. First and foremost, I don't know if I've met anyone who doesn't like more convenience. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things we got to get away from is, I've always done it that way, so I'm going to continue to do it this way, right? Amazon was a great example of, they started out in Seattle as a book reseller, like books. Like that's not really something you'd think would become a $1 trillion industry, right? But they thought about doing things with more convenience, and so that created an industry. So we've got to be willing to embrace that everybody wants to have a more convenient process. Now, regardless of your market, that may be a better mobile experience. It may be a better video experience, maybe better in-person experience, but that's more convenient, more efficient, right? Whatever that looks like, things are going to continue to be more convenient. Like and the companies that do that and thrive in that world are going to win. I think that's number one. I think number two is, you need to know your audience. And once you figure out who your audience is, take one technology and master it in the next 30 days. And anyone on this call is competent enough to do that in a week, right? I'm giving them a buffer. Take a technology. Like for me, I started with video. About 7 years ago, I started doing video email, way before anybody else was, because for me, as I told you before, I was still a fireman. It was out of necessity. But my clients, my audience, thought it was more convenient for me. Instead of sending them an email that they'd have to read, I sent them a video. So I started using video email technology as a convenience tool for my audience, and now it's turned into a daily practice in my business and for most people. So I would say that technology is here to stay. Amazon's not going away. More and more people are buying stuff on Amazon, so there's a reason why people like that experience. So instead of fighting that, we're going to embrace that. We're going to embrace ways of making the process more convenient, and then we're going to look at our audience and say, what does my audience want? Do they want 7-day-a-week coverage and I need to hire a remote staff member on the weekends? Do they want more interaction via video? Do they want a mobile app? Do they want to be able to do home tours on FaceTime? Like this little tool I have right here is like a $1,400 tool that cost about $1 billion to develop, and it makes everything we do easier, right? And so I think that that's really what I would focus on with people right now, is pick a tool, and embrace the fact that people want convenience, and then look at your business model. Truth shall set you free. Where are you not convenient? What about your process is cumbersome? Whether that's selling a home, selling a mortgage, or any other aspect in the process, where are you not convenient? Do you make your client log in 4 times and have secret, backup password keywords that,
Right.
remember? And if your client's reverse mortgages, that's going to be a problem, right?
Right.
If your client based in downtown Seattle and they're Amazon and they want like 24/7 access to rates and technology. Like, so it's all about just understanding your audience and making the process more convenient for them.
Yeah, I think that's so very true. So now we're going to jump into the home life. So now, what are you most?
I didn't agree to this. All right, Mac.
What do you most looking forward to about being a new dad?
Yeah, I think that I've been married for 13 years with no kids. That's a long time to be married to one person with no kids. And we started to feel like our experiences that we were doing, which were unbelievable, traveling the world and do these things, we felt like something was missing. And I think the reality is, for me, I'm so excited for my daughter to be able to experience things with me. And it goes back to what we talked about before. Life is about experiences and people, man. And it's not about the things, the objects. I could be happy living in a hammock down on the beach in flip-flops with no money, as long as my family and my friends are there and we get to have fun experiences. And so for me, being a first-time dad, being able to bring my daughter, Olivia, on experiences with me that become her experiences, and then she gets to bring me on experiences, is what's most exciting.
And that's cool. And sitting down talking to you about it, I know that that's real and you're looking forward to it. And it even made me start thinking about the experiences as I start to look back of all the things that were really the most cool about having, a daughter. And I can't wait for you to experience those things, because you blessed me with so many great experiences. It's just, like even going on field trips with them to the like here we go to the mines, and taking them and letting them look at the little gems and going, oh, that's a cool little gem. I mean, those are the beauties of fatherhood. And I think those are the reasons why we work so hard to get things done. So, man, I can't wait for that little girl to get here so you can start spoiling her and teaching her how to be a little lady Kidwell.
That's it, man. I'm excited too. And then it's been awesome being on here. And I'm just blessed to have you as a friend. It's all about the experiences and relationships. And these types of things are what matter most and are fun. If you're watching this show, if you're not working with this guy, you're an absolute fool. I can tell you firsthand, I've seen him as he stripped back all the layers and got real about what he wanted to do in his business. And it was always about doing better for people, being better for people, making things better. And I think that that's what's really important is you want people's experience with you to be the best it can possibly be in every way. And I didn't realize you were such a nerd about it. So I got to understand that, but your level of detail to the process, the systems, the procedures, that's what's going to make you stand apart from everybody else in Colorado and in the market nationwide. So it's really exciting. I'm excited to see you in 12 months, where you go from here.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks a lot. Keep pushing me. I love it when you kick that foot in my tail sometimes and tell me, hey, I meant to bring the T-shirt you gave me, about work harder. As I took that, I meant to bring it on the show because I like to wear T-shirts, but it was a suit day. So, man, keep up all the good work you're doing. People keep reaching out to me about what you're doing and what everybody else, all the other coaches are doing at next level. And I have nothing but great things to say. Keep rocking and rolling, brother. And I will talk to you soon. And thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Everybody, well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Max Monday Mojo. I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you get something out of that. You grow from every person that we have on here, because that's what it's all about, just continuing to grow and bless other people. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.